Hello, my spooky friends. It is Stacy, and welcome to Special Effects Makeup on a Budget, where I create cosplay costumes, Halloween, and horror makeup, making sure that things stay affordable with easy follow tutorials that will help save you time and money and just have some fun. Today's horror body makeup is a split nose, and I'm using the Revolution Beauty SFX Putty Scar Wax. This is $7. It's a little bit more on the affordable side with a little bit more product than what you could find at Spirit Halloween. And I do like this one. It works very well. But if you're wanting to save more time and money, and chances are you have the ingredients in your home already to make your own scar wax, you can click this link and it'll take you to the tutorial. This formula is a bit more forgiving and a lot easier to color. So that might be something that you're looking for. Check it out. And let's just go ahead and get into it. To begin, I will be making sure to get the oils off of my skin. It is important that you do that when you're using scar wax. Today I'm using Mehron Spirit, but alcohol and witch hazel will do the trick. And I'm using Spirit gum today for my adhesive, making sure that I place this over the areas that I'm going to push my scar wax into. You can also use liquid latex, but it is not technically an adhesive. It just has some sticky properties once it dries. And going in with a spatula, I like this formula because it does come with a little spatula. It's easier to retrieve the product out of the casing that it's in. And I roll that in and get it warm and make a small strip and begin to place that down into the center. Now my nose is a little bit more of a broken nose with staples, so I pushed a little bit of a bend onto the bridge. And as always, working with scar wax, you want to make sure that your tools stay lubricated, your fingers, whatever you're using. So I dip my spatula into the Vaseline, or you can use olive oil to get it smoothed out, but I continue to press that in to where I have a seamless texture between the scar wax and the skin. Depending on the environment you work with is going to be what dictates the pressure to form the scar wax onto the face and push it down into the skin. Just continue to work with it until it does that. Now I'm taking my tool because it's got a sharp blunt edge. Be careful about your skin up underneath, and I'm slowing this portion down because I've seen other tutorials just rake a toothpick or whatever spatula right down the middle and they go, and just like that. But it is not just like that. I continually have to lift my tools out of the scar wax once I meet resistance, and each time I go back in, I make sure that that tool is lubricated with the Vaseline or the oil. Now today I am using a castor oil from Mehron, and all this does is allow the scar wax to take color a lot better. So if you're using cream, grease, or foundation, it will be a bit easier once it dries. And so while that is drying, I'm going to go in and create the bruising around the eyes and up under the cheekbone area. I'll start with a dark blue, and then I blend the purple from the blue out. Now, take into consideration how this injury happened. You might have, if you know the anatomy and how blood flows up under the skin, go out where the blood thins out. It changes color a little bit differently. So I go from blue to purple to yellow. And then to make those cheekbones look a little bit puffy, I am adding a yellow highlight above and below the dark. And I like to mix in a little bit of red in my yellow. I just think it looks a little bit more realistic. I like to use eyeshadow for this when I can because I have a lot of palettes, but you can also use cream or grease paint. Just I don't recommend that you use alcohol paints for that because it will irritate the skin and the eyes. Now once that is dried, I powder it a little bit, but I want to go in with the foundation that I have on my face to match it a little bit. And one thing about this injury is I try to make it a little bit more realistic than just a Halloween look by making sure that that skin does look a little bit different, because once skin loses its blood supply, it does change in color. So I kept that in mind when I was coloring it in. And I'm going in with a grease paint to color in that center, but I'm also showing you another way to do that. This is my homemade Scab Blood. I do have a recipe for that. I'll link it in the description below, but it's going to be a little bit darker, and it's really going to fill up that void that we put in to the scar wax. Now I am using staples from a staple gun, and I recommend that you cut the prongs a little bit so that they do actually rest just a bit in the center onto the scar wax. And this will stop you from having to use any other adhesive, but just take your time with this. You want to work slowly, and you don't want to bump into the scar wax unnecessarily because you've done all the other prep to it. For more irritation, I'm going in with a brighter red and grease paint, and I'm tapping that in with a homemade stipple sponge. And all this is a makeup sponge that I poked holes into with a tweezer, making sure to get rid of the corner. This is a really good way to save money, and you can rewash these and reuse them. But going in with more irritation, blood up around the nose, and then also tapping in some Vaseline to blend out the bleeding of the blood up underneath the skin. So this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this one today. I think it's a good one to practice with because the nose does not move with most of the facial features, and so you get a good idea about how scar wax performs, how to manipulate it, and also it helps you practice keeping in mind how your look is going to be based upon the injury that you're trying to create, how the blood flows up under the skin, old injuries, fresh injuries. So I hope you enjoyed this one today, and if you are having fun, please consider subscribing, because once I reach 1,000 subscribers, I am going to do a giveaway, and you do not want to miss that. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today, and I will see you next time. Bye now.